The first one is don't generalize, specialize. Why don't you just unpack the logic behind that rule first? And then I got a few follow-up questions.
Yeah. I mean, look, when you generalize, every additional service you offer, you're making your business more dependent on you personally. Because if you think about to make a business work without you, you've got to train others to do the work. And it's a lot easier to train others to offer one service like Lee's done at One Day Flooring. Lee's really been disciplined about just doing flooring, and therefore he can bring on a crew. It doesn't take him 5 years of apprenticeship to train these young kids how to install concrete floors. Yet if he was tempted to sell other things, I mean, another one is Barry at 505 Junk up in Vancouver. So Barry, has a crew that removes junk. So he's got trucks on the road, shows up at a homeowner, and he removes their junk. And you could say, well, what other synergies are there? So what else could I do if I was Barry? I've got guys on the road. I've got a truck. I'm going to someone's home. There's a truck roll involved. Well, why don't I just cut their lawn at the same time? Because everybody needs lawn care services. But the moment you do that, you cross-sell a second product, you make more revenue per visit, but you're now having to train and teach someone who's been trained at weighing junk to now, how do you deal with an electric lawnmower? How do you gas up a lawnmower? You have to teach them a second service. And then if you add a third or fourth or fifth service, it starts to become untenable. You start to get a business that's deeply dependent on you. So this idea of specialization is really akin to, you've got to get this kind of level one business to a point where you can get others doing the work. And the fastest way to do that is to specialize so that it takes you less time to train them.
You use the word discipline, which really jumped out to me. Can you just explain why it takes discipline for an entrepreneur to do that?
Yeah, because every client is going to want you to do other shit. Like they're all going to say,
right,
"Oh man, you like you built my deck. You made it. It was so amazing. Do you guys ever consider doing fencing?" Right. And you're this is like lambs to the slaughter. I mean, you love the accolades from the client. The customer's happy. It makes you feel up warm and inside.
You like the revenue,
and you've done it. Yeah, revenue, profit. And you think, wait. I mean, we could do roofs. Why not? I know how to swing a hammer. It's tempting to do it because clients are asking you for it. Right. And that's the real challenge is that we've indoctrinated entrepreneurs to believe that, you've got to listen to your clients. You've got to be client-centric. You got to be customer-centric. And while I agree to some extent that's important, but Steve Jobs is famous for the quote, "Nobody ever thought they wanted 1,000 songs in their pocket," yet he created the iPod, the predecessor to the iPhone. He needed to have the vision to say, no, this is a product we can win. This is a product we can create, which will be better than anyone has ever imagined, but we have to be disciplined. And I think that discipline is, in some cases, flies in the face of what clients want you to do. Just because you're there with ladders to clean the windows doesn't mean you have to also do the eaves troughs. If you're not trained to do that, you don't have the insurance to do that, you don't have the people to do that. It's tempting because you're on the roof already, but you've got to stay within what you've trained your people to deliver.
It's very interesting hearing you talk about that idea of discipline and they've really stuck to their lane. Like in this little space of ours, the businesses that I have seen do really, really well from a valuation standpoint in stage a very successful exit where a lot of people got rich. Their scope of work is narrow. It's not wide and broad. It's very like we 100%. Do this. And we do it better than anyone else.
You know why that is?
Why?
Because acquirers are just like we are as humans. Let me give you an example. So if you think about cable television and you think about what you pay per channel you subscribe to, if you still subscribe to cable like me, I think I'd pay about $100 for like 500 channels, something like that. I watch, by the way, Benji, maybe one or two, right? Yet on a per channel basis, I'm paying, $100 for 500 channels, like 20 cents a channel. Mm-hmm. So I don't place a lot of value on the stuff I don't need. Mm-hmm. Yet Disney rocks up and say for $12 a month, you can have one channel. On the surface, you might think, okay, well, that's 60 times more than every other channel I'm paying for. Yet I happily do it. Why? Because they do one thing better than anybody else. Acquirers are exactly the same. So they look at a business and they say, we want to own HVAC. Right. So they go, we're dominant in St. Louis and Nashville, and we want to go into Denver. And so they look up and they say, who is the number one HVAC company in Denver? If that HVAC company is pure HVAC, they're going to pay a huge multiple for that company relative to a business that's a little bit of HVAC, a little bit of window cleaning, and a little bit of lawn care. Because what are they going to do with the window cleaning and lawn care? They're going to jettison those businesses. They're going to shut them down. They're not worth anything to them. They're in the business of doing a roll up in HVAC. And so all the ancillary stuff that you do to drive revenue, get more customer, revenue per customer, more revenue, more profit, is actually undermining your attractiveness to an acquirer. It's not growing your attractiveness, it's undermining your attractiveness.
So
and again, it depends on what your goal is. Sorry, Benji, to cut you up, but it depends on what your goal is. If you want to create a cash flow business, have a great lifestyle, drive a great truck, and have clients who love you, by all means, knock yourself out, do whatever you want, because you're in a great spot. You've got a great expertise, a great skill set, and you can have a great lifestyle business. It's going to cap out at 200, 300, 400 grand a year, where you can't really pull much more on that because there are no more hours in the day. If you want to build a multi-million dollar business and have a 7, 8, 9-figure exit, you got to do one thing.
Listen, if you like that clip, you can watch the full episode by clicking here. If you're not yet subscribed, you probably should be, and you can do that by clicking right here.